All right, hold on tight, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you see Stray Kids in the global music scene. We all know Stray Kids as the powerhouse fourth-gen group that's been absolutely dominating charts, breaking records and selling out stadiums worldwide. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Some of the biggest names in American music didn't just casually bump into Stray Kids at an award show and say, "Hey, let's work together." No. These artists actually went out of their way to reach out first. They made the call. They sent the DM. They told the world publicly that they wanted to collaborate with Stray Kids. Now, let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about small indie artists looking for clout. We're talking about Grammy-nominated, Billboard-charting, multi-platinum American superstars who looked at Stray Kids and said, "I need to be on a track with them." So here's what I want you to think about. What kind of artist makes a global pop star stop everything and say, "I have to work with them"? Which American singer literally fanboyed on live television about wanting a Stray Kids collab? Who shocked the entire K-pop community by dropping Stray Kids' name in an interview that nobody saw coming? And which collaboration request turned into one of the most legendary crossover moments in recent music history? Stay locked in, because this list is going to blow your mind, from number 6 all the way to number 1. Let's get into it.
Number 6. Chase Atlantic, the band that reached out and never got a reply. Now, before we get into the bigger names on this list, we gotta start with a story that honestly might be one of the most heartbreaking and most real examples of what it means to genuinely want to collaborate with Stray Kids. We're talking about Chase Atlantic. Now, if you don't know Chase Atlantic, let me paint the picture for you. They're a genre-bending group originally from Cairns, Australia. Yeah, Australia. The same country that gave K-pop two of its most beloved idols, Bang Chan and Felix of Stray Kids. Chase Atlantic is made up of brothers Clinton and Mitchell Cave along with Christian Anthony, and these guys have carved out a lane in the music industry that's completely their own, blending alternative R&B, pop, electronic, and rock into something that feels dark, moody, cinematic, and absolutely addictive. Tracks like Swim, Friends, Into It, and Slow Down have racked up hundreds of millions of streams on Spotify alone. They're not underground anymore. They're a legitimate force, especially in the American alternative scene where they've built their career and fan base after relocating to Los Angeles. So when we talk about Chase Atlantic wanting to work with Stray Kids, we're not talking about some random SoundCloud artist trying to get clout. We're talking about a critically respected, commercially successful act that saw something in Stray Kids that made them think, "We need to make music with these guys." And the way this whole saga started? It's pure, unscripted magic. It was 2021, and Bang Chan was doing what he does best, connecting with fans through his iconic Chan's Room V-Live broadcasts. If you're a stay, you know that Chan's Room is basically sacred ground. It's where Bang Chan lets his guard down, plays music he loves, reacts to new tracks, and just vibes with the fandom. And on one particular broadcast, Bang Chan did something that would set off a chain reaction nobody saw coming. He played Chase Atlantic's song, Slow Down. He didn't just casually mention it either. He genuinely praised the track, talked about how much he loved the vibe, the production, the way it made him feel. And remember, this is Bang Chan we're talking about, a guy who is himself a world-class producer, a member of the legendary production Unit 3 Racha, someone who understands music on a molecular level. So when he praises your song, that's not just a casual shout-out, that's a stamp of approval from one of the most talented producers in the entire K-pop industry. Naturally, stays did what stays do best. They immediately clipped the moment, spread it across every social media platform imaginable, and made sure Chase Atlantic knew about it. The clips went viral. Fans tagged Chase Atlantic on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And here's where it gets beautiful. Chase Atlantic saw it. Mitchell Cave and Christian Anthony both responded on social media, expressing genuine excitement and interest. They weren't just flattered, they were hyped. They publicly said they would love to collaborate with Bang Chan. The idea of two Australian connected acts, one dominating the K-pop world, the other ruling the American alternative scene, coming together for a musical project? It felt like destiny. The internet exploded with possibilities. Fans from both sides started imagining what a Chase Atlantic x Stray Kids track would sound like. Would it be dark and moody like Swim meets Side Effects? Would it be high energy and chaotic like Into It meets God's Menu? The potential was literally limitless because both acts share that same DNA. They refuse to be boxed in. They produce their own music, they blend genres fearlessly, and they make art that hits you in the gut. But here's where the story takes a turn that nobody expected, and honestly, it's the part that makes this whole thing so painfully real. Fast forward to 2023. Chase Atlantic was performing at one of their concerts, and a fan in the crowd shouted the question that everyone had been thinking for 2 years. What happened with the Stray Kids collab? And Christian Anthony, right there on stage, in front of hundreds of fans, gave an answer that shook the entire fandom to its core. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that after the initial social media interaction, they had actually tried to reach out to Stray Kids to make the collaboration happen. They made the effort. They sent the message. They knocked on the door. But they never got a response. Let that sink in for a second. Chase Atlantic, a band with millions of fans, hundreds of millions of streams, critical acclaim, and genuine artistic credibility, reached out to Stray Kids for a collaboration, and the door simply never opened. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, this isn't necessarily a story about rejection or disrespect. The K-pop industry operates on a completely different level than Western music. Everything goes through agencies, in this case, JYP Entertainment. Collaboration requests don't just land on Bang Chan's desk like a casual email. There are layers of management, scheduling, contractual obligations, creative direction meetings, market strategy discussions. It's an entire corporate ecosystem that has to align before any collaboration can even be discussed seriously. It's entirely possible, and honestly, very likely, that the request simply got lost in the machinery of the industry. Maybe it never reached the members. Maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe JYP had other priorities at that moment. We'll probably never know the full story. But what makes this moment so powerful, so worthy of the number 6 spot on this list, is what it represents. Chase Atlantic didn't just casually tweet, "Hey, let's collab," and move on. They actually tried. They put in the effort. They reached out through proper channels. And the fact that it didn't work out doesn't diminish the significance of the gesture. If anything, it amplifies it. It proves that Stray Kids' reputation, their artistry, their self-produced identity, has reached a level where established Western acts are actively pursuing them. Not the other way around. Stray Kids didn't need to go knocking on Chase Atlantic's door. Chase Atlantic came to them. And that, right there, tells you everything you need to know about the kind of gravitational pull Stray Kids have in the global music landscape. They're not chasing collaborations, collaborations are chasing them. Now, if this story about a collaboration that almost happened already has you hooked, just wait, because the next 5 entries on this list, they're going to take everything up a notch. We're moving from almost to absolutely happened, and the names are only going to get bigger. So the question is, which American singer at number 5 not only expressed interest, but actually turned that admiration into a full-blown musical moment with a Stray Kids member? Stay tuned. Number 5, D4VD. The viral prodigy whose admiration for Hyunjin turned into a real song. Alright, if number 6 was about a collaboration that almost happened but never did, then number 5 is the complete opposite. This is the story of how pure, genuine admiration between 2 artists on completely different sides of the music world turned into an actual, real, released, streamable song that fans are still obsessing over. We're talking about D4VD, and if that name doesn't ring a bell yet, trust me, by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why this kid is one of the most exciting artists to emerge from the American music scene in years. And why his connection to Stray Kids, specifically to Hwang Hyunjin, is one of the most organic, heartwarming collaboration stories in recent K-pop crossover history. So, let's break this down from the very beginning. D4VD, real name David Anthony Burke, is an American singer, songwriter, and self-taught musician from Houston, Texas. And when I say self-taught, I mean this kid literally taught himself to make music by watching YouTube tutorials. No formal training. No fancy music school. No industry connections handed to him on a silver platter. He started out as a gamer, playing Fortnite and making music on the side as a hobby. But here's the thing about D4VD. When he started uploading his songs to the internet, something happened that nobody, not even he, could have predicted. His music went absolutely viral. We're talking about songs like Romantic Homicide, which didn't just trend on TikTok, it became a global phenomenon. That single track alone has accumulated over 2 billion streams across platforms. 2 billion. From a teenager in Houston who learned to produce music in his bedroom. Here With Me followed, and again, hundreds of millions of streams. The kid was suddenly being compared to artists twice his age with 10 times his resources. Critics called his sound genre fluid, a blend of indie rock, alternative pop, R&B, and something almost ethereal that you couldn't quite put your finger on. And it wasn't just the numbers that were impressive, it was the emotion in his music. D4VD has this raw, almost painfully honest quality to his vocals and lyrics that makes you feel like he's whispering secrets directly into your soul. Every song feels personal. Every melody feels like a memory you didn't know you had. And that quality, that emotional depth, that vulnerability wrapped in artistic bravery, is exactly what caught the attention of someone on the other side of the world, Hyunjin of Stray Kids. Now, if you know anything about Hyunjin, you know he's not just a performer, he's an artist in every sense of the word. He's the member of Stray Kids who paints, who dances like his body is speaking a language that words can't express, who approaches music and performance with a level of emotional intensity that leaves audiences speechless. Hyunjin doesn't just perform songs, he lives them. And when someone like Hyunjin takes notice of your music, it's not a casual, oh this is cool, kind of moment. It means your art has reached a level that resonates with someone who understands artistry on a profoundly deep level. And that's exactly what happened. In an interview with Teen Vogue, one of the most widely read publications in American pop culture, Hyunjin mentioned D4VD by name. He talked about listening to his music, about connecting with the emotional texture of his songs, about how D4VD's sound resonated with him personally. This wasn't a forced, PR-driven name drop. This was Hyunjin genuinely sharing what he listens to in his private moments, and D4VD was on that list. When this interview dropped, Stays and D4VD fans alike went absolutely ballistic on social media. The crossover nobody expected was suddenly happening in real time. Fans clipped the interview, translated it, shared it across every platform, tagged D4VD, created edits combining Hyunjin's visuals with D4VD's music. The internet was on fire. And then came the moment that turned mutual admiration into something real. D4VD was in Korea, yes, Korea, doing a radio interview, and during that interview, he spoke highly of Hyunjin. Not in a generic, polite, yeah, he's cool kind of way, D4VD genuinely expressed his admiration for Hyunjin as an artist and as a creative force. He talked about how he'd seen what Hyunjin does on stage, how he respected the way Hyunjin approaches his craft, and here's the key detail, he expressed clear interest in working together. This wasn't vague fan service. This was one artist looking at another and saying, there's something here. There's a creative connection that deserves to be explored. And from that point on, something beautiful started to unfold behind the scenes. D4VD and Hyunjin began supporting each other on social media. They'd interact with each other's posts, share each other's music, drop subtle hints that something might be brewing. The online friendship grew steadily, organically, naturally, exactly the way the best creative partnerships are supposed to develop. No corporate boardroom meetings. No label executives forcing two names together for marketing purposes. Just two young artists from completely different worlds who recognized something in each other's art that felt familiar, felt real, felt worth pursuing. And then, in June 2025, the moment that fans had been manifesting for months finally arrived. D4VD and Hyunjin met in person for the first time at Stray Kids concert in Los Angeles. Picture this. One of the biggest K-pop stages in America, tens of thousands of screaming fans, the energy absolutely electric, and somewhere in that building, two artists who had been admiring each other from across oceans were finally standing face to face. The full circle was almost complete. And just days later, on June 27th, 2025, Always Love dropped. And let me tell you, it wasn't just a song. It was a statement. Always Love is everything fans had hoped it would be and more. It's the perfect fusion of D4VD's dreamy, emotionally raw indie sound with Hyunjin's captivating vocal presence and artistic intensity. The track feels intimate yet expansive, personal yet universal, like two artists who understood each other's creative language without ever needing to explain it. Forbes literally described the collaboration as a full-circle moment, and honestly, that's the perfect way to put it. Because this didn't start with a business meeting or a label pitch. It started with one artist mentioning another in a magazine interview. It grew through mutual respect shared on social media. It deepened through genuine friendship built across continents and time zones. And it culminated in a piece of music that represents everything beautiful about what happens when artistry transcends borders, genres, and industries. What makes D4VD's place on this list so powerful is what he represents. The new generation of American artists who don't see K-pop as other, or foreign, or separate. For D4VD, Hyunjin isn't a K-pop idol he wants to collaborate with for clout. Hyunjin is a fellow artist whose creative vision aligns with his own. And that shift in perspective from K-pop collaboration as a marketing strategy to K-pop collaboration as genuine artistic communion is something that D4VD embodies perfectly. He didn't approach this with a business plan. He approached it with admiration, respect, and a genuine belief that their combined artistry could create something special. And he was right. Now, if the story of D4VD and Hyunjin already has you feeling the chills, buckle up, because at number 4, we're about to jump into a completely different musical universe. We're going from indie dreamscapes to the gritty, raw, unfiltered world of American hip-hop. And the artist at number 4? He didn't just express interest in Stray Kids, he made history with them. Who is it? You're going to want to hear this one. Number 4. The Chicago rap giant who left everyone speechless, a historical cross-genre alliance. Imagine for a second that you are walking down the cold, windy streets of Chicago, surrounded by the raw, gritty sounds of drill music that have defined an entire generation of street-level hip-hop. This is the home of Lil Durk, a man who survived the harshest realities of the streets, watched his closest friends disappear, and fought his way to the absolute peak of the global music industry through sheer, unadulterated willpower. Lil Durk is not just a mainstream rapper, he is a raw storyteller of survival, a Grammy-nominated icon whose music carries the heavy weight of real-life pain, loss, and redemption. Now, zoom out and look across the Pacific Ocean to Seoul, South Korea, where a group of 8 young men called Stray Kids are redefining what it means to be global superstars with their high-octane beats, self-produced anthems, and an unshakable bond with their fans. On paper, these two worlds should never, ever meet. They exist in completely different musical galaxies, separated by culture, language, and the invisible yet rigid walls of genre. Yet, in October 2023, the global music community was shaken to its core when it was officially announced that Lil Durk had personally aligned with Stray Kids for a historic remix of his chart-topping hit, All My Life. Now let's talk about All My Life for a moment, because this wasn't just any regular song. The original track, featuring the legendary J. Cole, was a massive, emotionally charged anthem about rising above adversity, maintaining mental health, and proving the doubters wrong while mentoring the next generation. It was a song that touched millions of hearts worldwide, debuting at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and becoming a staple on global radio. So, when the time came to create a global remix pack, Lil Durk and his team didn't just look for standard American pop stars or mainstream rappers to fill the space. No, they looked at the global landscape and realized that the ultimate symbol of resilience, self-determination, and raw energy in the modern era was none other than Stray Kids. The decision of Lil Durk's camp to seek out Stray Kids was a massive cultural statement that sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. For years, Western hip-hop purists had looked down on K-pop, viewing it as overly manufactured, clean, and disconnected from the grit of real-world experiences. But Lil Durk, a true product of the streets who values authenticity above all else, saw something different in the Korean group. He saw a crew of self-made producers, led by three Racha, who write their own lyrics, build their own beats, and have fought their way through the grueling K-pop industry on their own terms. That shared spirit of survival and independence is the invisible thread that connected the streets of Chicago to the recording studios of Seoul. When the remix dropped, fans and critics alike were left absolutely speechless by the sheer synergy of the collaboration. Instead of just delivering a generic guest verse, Stray Kids completely absorbed the emotional weight of the song, adding a new layer of depth and global perspective to Lil Durk's masterpiece. The contrast of Felix's incredibly deep, resonant baritone voice alongside the soulful, uplifting choir of the original track created a hauntingly beautiful atmosphere that still sends shivers down your spine. Bang Chan, Changbin, and Han delivered lyrics that spoke directly to their own journey of overcoming obstacles, maintaining their creative integrity in the face of constant pressure, and staying true to the family they built. It was a lyrical testament that perfectly matched Lil Durk's original message. What makes this collaboration so incredibly historic is the fact that it was Stray Kids' very first official partnership with a major American hip-hop artist, proving that their appeal extends far beyond the traditional boundaries of K-pop. It showed the entire music industry that Stray Kids' brand of self-produced, high-energy music has earned the respect of the most authentic voices in American rap. The hip-hop community, which is notoriously difficult to impress, had to sit up and take notice. They saw a group of Korean artists handling a heavy, emotional rap track with the utmost respect, skill, and artistic maturity. It wasn't a cheap marketing stunt designed to gain quick clicks. It was a genuine, respectful fusion of two distinct musical cultures that shared the same beating heart of resilience. The impact of this release resonated deeply across social media, where fans analyzed every single line, marveling at how naturally Stray Kids fitted into the track's sonic landscape. It proved that music, when crafted with genuine emotion and respect, knows no borders. Lil Durk's request for this collaboration opened a door that many thought would remain locked forever, paving the way for K-pop to be viewed not just as a visual spectacle, but as a legitimate force of lyrical and musical artistry on the global stage. It challenged the listeners to ask themselves, if a Chicago drill legend can recognize the raw, authentic talent of a self-producing K-pop group, why should anyone else doubt their place at the top of the music world? The atmosphere of the song, the struggle it represents, and the triumph of its success all point to one undeniable truth. Stray Kids have earned their seat at the table of global musical icons, and they did it by staying true to who they are, attracting the admiration of the industry's most formidable figures along the way. As the last notes of the remix fade, you're left with a profound sense of awe at how far these 8 boys have come, transitioning from trainees fighting for a chance to debut to global artists collaborating with rap royalty. And yet, this historic alliance is just one piece of the puzzle. The journey of Stray Kids in the Western music industry is filled with even more shocking requests, more legendary names, and more moments where the global music hierarchy was turned completely upside down. So, as we move forward, we must ask ourselves, what happens when one of the most successful pop rock producers in modern history decides he wants a piece of the Stray Kids magic? Who is the Grammy-winning hitmaker waiting at the next spot on our list, ready to take this global crossover to an entirely new level of mainstream dominance? This question leads us straight into our next entry, which marks one of the most surprising, chart-topping alliances in modern music. Number 3. The global pop prince who hunted the internet for a Stray Kids visual, an unbelievable viral chase. If you have ever doubted the absolute grip that Stray Kids has on the global entertainment industry, then the story of number 3 is going to completely shatter whatever doubts you have left. We are talking about Troye Sivan. Now, even though Troye was born in South Africa and raised in Australia, his entire professional music career, his massive global footprint, and his daily creative life have been deeply rooted in the American music industry. Operating out of Los Angeles and signed to the legendary Capitol Records in the United States. He is a defining icon of modern Western pop music, celebrated for his vulnerability, his cinematic music videos, and hits like Youth, My, and Bloom that have soundtracked the lives of millions of young people across the globe. Troye Sivan is not someone who needs to chase trends. He is a trendsetter, a darling of the high fashion world, and an artist with immense critical respect. So, how did this Western pop superstar end up on a track with a K-pop idol? Well, it all started with a viral moment that felt more like a movie script than real life. In the summer of 2023, Troye Sivan did something that left the entire internet, and especially the K-pop community, completely paralyzed with shock. He took to his official TikTok account and posted a fan edit of none other than Hyunjin of Stray Kids. But it wasn't just a simple post, it was the caption that sent shockwaves through social media. Troye literally wrote, "Anyone know how to reach this man? / followed by a sigh." Let that sink in. A multi-platinum Western pop star, with millions of followers and a direct line to almost any artist in the industry, was publicly fanboying over a K-pop idol, begging the internet to help him make contact. The reaction was instantaneous and chaotic. Millions of fans began tagging Hyunjin, tagging JYP Entertainment, and sharing the clip until it was the most talked about topic on the web. Shortly after, during an interview with Apple Music, Troye Sivan was asked about the post. Instead of backing down or playing it off as a joke, he doubled down, stating clearly and passionately that he would collaborate with Hyunjin in a heartbeat if given the chance. He was captivated not just by Hyunjin's striking visuals, but by the intense, artistic aura that Hyunjin projects whenever he performs. But what makes this story so emotionally overwhelming is the secret connection that Hyunjin himself had to Troye Sivan's music, a detail that was revealed only after the two finally met. Years before this viral chase, when Hyunjin was still a young, exhausted trainee at JYP Entertainment, fighting every single day for a chance to debut, he used to sing Troye Sivan's songs during his monthly evaluations. For a trainee, those evaluations are the most stressful moments of their lives, and Hyunjin chose Troye's music to showcase his raw emotional depth and vocal capability. So, when the news reached Hyunjin that the very artist he had looked up to during his hardest times was now publicly looking for him, it was a profound, tear-jerking, full-circle moment. The two finally met face-to-face at the Versace La Vacanza fashion show in Cannes, standing side by side as global ambassadors, and the creative chemistry was undeniable. Not long after that meeting, the dream became a reality when Troye Sivan officially released the remix of his hit single Rush, featuring Hyunjin alongside British breakout star Pink Pantheress. But the road to this release was anything but easy. Behind the scenes, the timeline was incredibly tight, and JYP Entertainment's strict schedule and corporate machinery almost prevented the collaboration from happening. Hyunjin himself confessed during a live broadcast that he was fascinated by the offer, but almost had to decline due to the grueling schedule of Stray Kids promotions. However, because of his deep personal respect and longtime admiration for Troye, Hyunjin pushed through the exhaustion, worked late into the night, and recorded his vocals to ensure the track would be released. The result was a masterpiece of global crossover pop, blending Troye's infectious, high-energy house beats with Hyunjin's smooth, charismatic vocal tone and Pink Pantheress's signature bedroom pop vibes. It was a historic moment that proved K-pop idols are no longer viewed by the West as just distant performers to be admired from afar, but as immediate peers, muses, and creative partners that Western icons will actively seek out and fight to work with. Troye Sivan's public search for Hyunjin changed the game, showing that when the art is real, it will find a way to cross oceans, bypass corporate barriers, and bring two generations of artists together in a celebration of pure, unadulterated creativity. And yet, as massive as this pop crossover was, it is only a prelude to the giants waiting at the top of our list. As we move closer to number 1, the collaborations get even more mainstream, the names become household words, and the requests reveal an even deeper level of respect from the very architects of modern American pop music. So, who is the Grammy-winning superstar waiting at number 2, and how did a simple songwriting camp in New York turn into one of the most successful English singles in Stray Kids history? Number 2. The Grammy-nominated hitmaker with Perfect Pitch, a New York studio session that breathed new life into pop. When you talk about musicianship in the modern American pop industry, one name consistently rises to the top as a synonym for pure, raw musical genius: Charlie Puth. This is a man who doesn't just sing hit songs. He lives and breathes the very physics of sound. Famous for his absolute perfect pitch, the rare ability to identify or recreate any musical note without a reference tone, Charlie Puth is a songwriting prodigy who has crafted massive, record-breaking global hits like See You Again, Attention, and We Don't Talk Anymore. He is a producer's producer, a perfectionist who can hear a car horn on the street and instantly turn it into a multi-platinum hook. For Charlie, music is a precise science, and he does not collaborate lightly. He doesn't just jump on a track because a record label suggests it for streaming numbers. He has to respect the musical mind of the person he is sharing the studio with. So, when rumors began to circulate in late 2023 that Charlie Puth had actively sought out Stray Kids for a collaborative project, the entire pop music landscape stopped to pay attention. This wasn't just a K-pop crossover. This was a meeting of production powerhouses. The origin of this legendary partnership dates back to September 2023, in the heart of New York City. Stray Kids were in the city to perform as headliners at the Global Citizen Festival, a massive stage that solidified their status as global icons. But while they were there, a secret meeting was being arranged behind closed doors. Charlie Puth, who had been closely following Stray Kids' meteoric rise and was deeply impressed by their self-produced identity, wanted to meet the creative brains of the group. He reached out to organize a private songwriting camp with 3RACHA, the elite production unit of Stray Kids consisting of Bang Chan, Changbin, and Han. This wasn't a standard, lazy collaboration where files were emailed back and forth across different time zones. No, Charlie wanted to sit in the same room, share the same air, and write music face to face with the boys. When 3RACHA walked into that New York studio, they weren't treated as idle performers, they were welcomed as fellow producers. Charlie was fascinated by how Bang Chan structured beats, how Changbin developed intricate rhythmic flows, and how Han could write brilliant melodies on the fly. The studio session was an electric clash of musical philosophies, Charlie's polished, Billboard-ready American pop sensibilities blending seamlessly with 3RACHA's experimental, high-energy, and boundary-pushing K-pop production style. Together, they laid down the foundation for what would become Lose My Breath. The bond they formed in that studio extended beyond New York. In October 2023, when Charlie Puth traveled to Seoul for his own concert tour, Stray Kids showed their hospitality by sending a massive, elaborate traditional Korean meal directly to his dressing room. Charlie was so touched by the gesture that he shared it on his Instagram story, thanking the group publicly and sparking a frenzy of excitement among fans who realized the collaboration was very real. When Lose My Breath was finally released in May 2024, it showcased a completely different side of Stray Kids. Instead of their signature, aggressive noise music sound, the track was a smooth, melodic, mid-tempo pop anthem, driven by Charlie's signature vocal production and the members' emotional vocal delivery. It was a massive global success, debuting on major international charts and proving that Stray Kids could conquer the traditional Western pop format just as easily as they did the experimental K-pop scene. What makes this collaboration so incredibly special, earning it the number 2 spot, is the mutual respect that drove it. Charlie Puth didn't look at Stray Kids as a marketing tool to break into the Asian market. He looked at them as musical peers. He recognized that the boys of 3RACHA are true artists who control their own sonic destiny, a rarity in both the K-pop and Western music industries. This respect was highlighted in a viral interview in June 2024, where the host referred to Bang Chan and Charlie as close friends, and Bang Chan, with his signature professionalism, politely clarified that they are highly respected co-workers. A statement that fans celebrated because it showed the seriousness and mutual respect they held for their professional craft. Charlie Puth's request to work with Stray Kids was a validation of their hard work, proving to the world that their talent is recognized by the most demanding ears in the American music industry. And yet, as legendary as this New York connection is, there is still one more spot left on our list. The number one entry is a collaboration request so massive, so unexpected, and so culturally dominant that it didn't just top the charts, it invaded Hollywood itself. Who is the ultimate American music icon that first requested to join forces with Stray Kids, creating a crossover that changed K-pop history forever? Number 1. NSYNC, the legends of the 90s pop era, a historic AMA's boy band tribute that united generations. When we talk about the absolute blueprint of global boy bands, there is one legendary American group that stands as an untouchable monument in pop music history, NSYNC. Comprising Justin Timberlake, J.C. Chases, Chris Kirkpatrick, Joey Fatone, and Lance Bass, this iconic group dominated the late 90s and early 2000s, selling over 70 million records worldwide, defining the teen pop era, and leaving behind legendary anthems like Bye 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 and It's Gonna Be Me. For decades, their choreography, their vocal harmonies, and their cultural impact remained sacred ground, representing the golden age of Western pop music. But as the years passed, a new force emerged from South Korea, a group of self-producing rebels called Stray Kids, who broke the traditional idol mold and conquered the global music scene with their chaotic energy and unmatched stage presence. To see these two legendary eras collide was something that pop music fans could only dream of. Yet, in October 2024, the world watched in absolute disbelief as the legends of NSYNC themselves endorsed and actively collaborated to create a historic legacy tribute performance with Stray Kids at the American Music Awards, AMA's 50th anniversary special. The timing of this crossover was pure magic. NSYNC's legendary hit, Bye Bye Bye, had just experienced a massive global resurgence, climbing back up the Billboard charts after being featured in the opening sequence of the blockbuster movie Deadpool and Wolverine, a film that also featured a music video cameo and soundtrack contribution from Stray Kids. The producers of the AMAs and the members of NSYNC recognized that there was only one group in the modern music landscape capable of matching the sheer performance energy, the complex choreography, and the global star power of the original boy band era, Stray Kids. Lance Bass, along with AJ McLean of the Backstreet Boys, took the stage to introduce the segment, passing the metaphorical torch to the new generation of global superstars. The performance itself was a jaw-dropping, heart-stopping masterpiece. Stray Kids began by paying direct homage to NSYNC, recreating the iconic marionette-style string choreography from the Bye 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 music video with absolute precision and respect. They then seamlessly mashed the legendary 2000s pop anthem with their own massive hit, CHK CHK Boom, creating a high-octane sonic bridge that united two different generations of pop music history. The energy in the room was electric, and the response from the original members of NSYNC was nothing short of overwhelming. Instead of just offering a polite nod of approval, the official NSYNC social media channels and the members themselves publicly praised Stray Kids' performance, sharing clips, expressing their deep honor at seeing their classic choreography brought to life with such dedication, and fanboying over the Korean group's execution. What makes this the undisputed number one on our list is the scale and historical significance of the gesture. We are not just talking about a modern artist wanting a guest verse for streaming numbers. We are talking about the founding fathers of the modern boy band era looking at Stray Kids and saying, "You are the ones worthy of carrying our legacy." It was a moment of ultimate validation, broadcast to millions of viewers worldwide, proving that Stray Kids' artistry, discipline, and impact have transcended the boundaries of K-pop to place them in the same legendary lineage as the greatest performers in Western music history. The alliance between NSYNC and Stray Kids at the AMAs showed the entire music industry that the spirit of pop music, the passion, the performance, the power to move millions of hearts, remains unchanged across decades, languages, and continents, cementing Stray Kids' place at the very top of the global pop hierarchy.